him high, but he's bleeding. I have conversations with a lot of people who don't hunt. They've never been around hunting. They don't even know someone who hunts. And when it comes up that I am an avid hunter, I usually get one of two reactions. The first, usually from a guy, is "That's awesome, but I could never do something like that." And they don't usually mean they couldn't because they feel bad for the animals or believe it's morally wrong or anything. They just can't fathom being the one behind the trigger when the meat their family will eat is procured. And that's fine. I don't judge that. If you've never been exposed to hunting, it's almost impossible to actually picture that playing out in your head. The second reaction I usually get is why? Why would you go to all that trouble and expense for some meat? There are grocery stores on every corner, and wouldn't you rather outsource the messy business of killing and cutting up an animal just to have some steaks at dinner? Aside from the obvious flaws in that logic, and the apples and oranges argument it is to compare true wild game with mass-produced grocery store meat, there is a nugget of a good question in there. Why do I hunt? Why? Why spend so much time, effort, and money to leave my family for a week or more to hunt down an animal that is trying with all its might to not be killed, all so that if I do succeed, I can work harder than I've ever worked before to cut it up and pack it out of the woods? Why would someone do that? It's a good question, and its answers lie deeper than the simple acquisition of quality meat. I hunt because there is something deep, deep within me that comes alive when I hunt. I can physically feel my place on the food chain and the dominion mankind has been given over nature. This primal place deep within my soul that is always there and cries out to be set free every day of my routine, suburban, 9-to-5, Starbucks drinking day. This part of me gets to come out and play when I hunt, and it is profoundly satisfying and healthy. So as I drive north to the elk woods of Arizona, I am anticipating so much more than hair-raising bugles and spotting giant racks through the timber. I am excited to let this inner man out for a few days, to let him do what he was designed to do, and to return home, with or without meat in the cooler, a more complete and satisfied human being. Well, it is finally opening morning. I'm so pumped. We have been out in the woods since dark. Zach, Neil, and I all hiked in. We got to a gate where my father-in-law went off to his tree stand while Zach and I continued making this long loop. We've covered 3.5, 4 miles so far today. The problem is we haven't seen a single elk. We saw an antelope, and he's beautiful, but is not at all what we're looking for. So we've been walking around for a few hours, calling and just kind of still hunting through the woods. Nothing's turning up. So both of us are ready to take a load off, get some food in us. So I am back at the little blind I made early in preseason, right across a clearing from the spot where I took my first shot with a bow last year. So just gonna hunker down here for a little bit, see if anything comes by. I'm right along kind of a highway, so to speak, of elk here. But we're pretty far north in the area that we're hunting. Yesterday when I was in here grabbing my camera, it was in the afternoon, but everything I saw I was spooking up was a good little ways south of here. So that's our plan. We're gonna hunker down for a little bit, and then we will continue to make a loop heading south and seeing if we run into them there. All in all, I'm hunting. It's a beautiful day. Day one was pretty much a bust. Despite running into some elk late in the afternoon, including a really nice bull, we were simply not able to sneak into range. So we walked back to the truck, went to the cabin for a hot meal, and hoped for better luck the next day. The morning of day two, the bulls were finally bugling and responding to calls, but they just didn't seem to want to come into any of them.
Days 2 and 3 were basically the same. Tons of bugling in the morning, but none of the bulls were willing to come in. Late mornings were spent kicking up herds before we could get in on them, and we spent the afternoons hunkered down in the shade, glassing through the trees, watching other wildlife, but never coming close to an elk. That kind of frustrating monotony tends to take a mental toll on a person.
I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but whenever I'm hunting, I have the weirdest assortment of music that runs through my head. Just songs that'll get stuck for hours. And then somewhere along the line, I'll notice that it's a different song. I never consciously changed the song, and it's from all over the place. Today, so far, I've had some John Mayer. I've had some Johnny Cash. Currently, it's Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. I don't know where that came from. I have not seen a reindeer. They do not live here. But that's the song in my head. Yesterday, I went from another John Mayer tune to Korn to a song from church the previous weekend. It's bizarre. Fun fact, I cannot go dove hunting without constantly hearing Fleetwood Mac, White Winged Dove in my head. Constantly. It's the least masculine song ever, and it's all I hear in my head while I hunt doves. It could be why I haven't been dove hunting in the last 2 years.
By the end of day 3, we knew we needed to change strategies, as heavy winds were supposed to pick up the next few days, and it was clear the rut had not yet kicked in.
All right, it's early in the morning of day 4. A new plan for this morning. We just almost cut off a screaming bull. We were just busting across trying to get ahead of him in the drainage he was moving. Thought we were going to make it, but he decided to pop up the hill in the clearing while we were still making our way. He ran off. A second bull behind him hung out for a bit. We were able to cow call, calm him down. He came into 90 yards, then took off. Anyway, they have all shut up now, and it's only about 6 a.m. So we are set up on the edge of this clearing here. Zach's on the other side. I'm over here. And Neil from his tree stand, which is further up north, says every day he sees at least one, usually a few groups of elk moving through this clearing. So we're just kind of set up with some shooting lanes, and unless they start bugling, there's no point pushing them around. So we're going to hope something comes by.
A group of elk with a nice bull in it came in on the path we expected them to. They were 100 yards from me and never made the turn to come my direction. But after hanging up at the far edge of the clearing, the bull decided to lead them straight back to where Zach was set up. I texted him that they were coming, and he ended up at full draw at 50 yards with that bull at a dead stop behind a small, spindly pine tree. As he waited for the bull to take that last step forward, one of the cows sensed something was wrong, and the whole group busted out before he ever got a shot. Despite the frustration of that moment, we knew we were onto something with our new ambush point. We built a blind that afternoon and decided to return the next morning.
All right, it's morning of day 5. We made incredible time getting in here. Got to our blind before shooting light. The only big wild card today is the wind. It's supposed to be crazy windy, and that could mess them all up. Anyway, we have constructed what I would argue is the finest ground blind in the history of hunting. And we've just got this nice wedge we've created along the pathways they take. And unless the wind changes things, they should come right along here and give us an opportunity this morning. So, feeling hopeful. It's also chilly.
Over the course of the morning, a group of cows and calves walked by, followed by a lone cow going the other direction. What was encouraging was that everything that came by was upwind of us, so if we could just get a bull to show up, we might have a shot. Finally, a lone 5x4 came meandering in through the timber. Zach fed me yardages and blew cow calls, and I kept preparing for him to come our way just a few more yards.
What? 60. I don't have 60.
Despite our calls, He walked slowly back into the timber and bedded down about 90 yards from us. The wind was strong and in our favor, so I decided to roll the dice and try to crawl in on him.
I hit him high, but he's bleeding. I got him. All right, I hit him high. I saw the blood gushing out. His back legs were not doing well. I hit him. It's, holy crap. I hit him a little high. Brother. Holy, I will, I'm sorry. I thought I had shot over the back of him because last time I had ranged him, he was like 54. And so then he was up, and I didn't think he had moved any closer. If anything, I thought he was farther. So I put my 50 pin on him a little high and launched it and thought that it had sailed over him. And so I was trying to grab another arrow, and as I saw him trotting away, I saw blood squirting out of high at the side of him, and his back legs were not cooperating. So I don't know if I'm so high that I messed with his spine. Hey. Oh my God. Thank you so much, man. All right, just shot a bull at 50-ish yards. Hit a little high, maybe a little bit back, but he was squirting as he went running, so I have high hopes. Now begins the fun part of tracking and praying to God we find him. This guy made me work for it. Hands
hands and knees for 30 yards. Almost busted out and just gave me the tiniest window through the trees. Thought he was going to go farther. I wasn't sure it was such a good shot, but he piled up here maybe 100 yards from where I shot him. Beautiful. Congrats, man. What you got there, Zach?
A nice, beautiful elk heart we're gonna have for dinner tonight, roasted on an open fire. Delicious.
So pumped.
Loaded down with insanely heavy packs, we began the long, slow hike back to the truck. Through the pain, muscle cramps, and outright misery, I found myself pondering if there is another sport in existence where so much suffering comes as a result of victory. I never did come up with one. But also in the midst of that pack out, I felt a profound peace with that inner man who comes to life during a hunt. Almost as if he was thanking me for this week of freedom, which seems the least I could do for him after so many months of keeping him in a cage of suburban comfort. I don't have a split personality, and I'm not insane. But I'm beginning to believe that most modern men have this same type of inner man buried beneath the surface. Tragically, few of us ever really get in touch with him or find ways to allow him to get out. And the result is typically disillusionment and generalized frustration. Why do I hunt? Because I need to hunt. As I store away the memories of this trip and drive back down the mountain with a full cooler, I am a more complete man. I am a better husband and father for my time in the woods. I will have the immense satisfaction of watching my family eat the meat of this magnificent animal all year long, and that primal man within me will smile each and every time. And though I desperately miss my family and cannot wait to see them, I am also already thinking of the next hunt and the one after that. This cycle will repeat itself year after year, and each and every time I become a bit more of the man I was designed to be.